NASA, or Not About Space Administration, is one of the largest con jobs in the history of the world. Archaeology has uncovered ancient hieroglyphics describing our plane of existence. They won't tell you that. This means there was a race of ancient people who understood what we are, and we are not a rock spinning around a star. Their drawings depict magnetism and the top and bottom forces that hold our plane together. The Freemasons knew this, and same with the esoteric religions, with the phrase, as above, so below. This means gravity is debunked, and we are actually being pulled by a magnetic field and not by density. The whole heliocentric model and calculations were actually a brilliant mathematical calculation theory that helped to describe our existence, but it was designed to steer the public away from the truth. Germany realized they could not defeat the bankers' magic, so they had to fight magic with magic using Deutsche Physik, Deutsche physics. They uncovered the truth that all science and mathematics was a decoy and discovered the Quasar's quantum physics theory called Jewish physics. Werner Heisenberg was the leading quantum scientist who discovered the splitting of the atom. Werner von Braun discovered rocket science, all using esoteric magic or quantum physics. Ooh. Ah. Werner Heisenberg purposely stalled the creation of the atom bomb because he felt he would use them immediately and then destroy the planet. Well, we would. This led the U.S. to create it after World War II, when they took the Nazi scientists in Operation Paperclip. Go look it up. The United States adopted the esoteric science and used all of it towards its own advantage. The U.S., after both world wars, was in debt. It needed funding for the exotic science, especially for the anti-gravity and laser weapons we got from the Germans. The government created NASA using Jack Parsons' Jet Propulsion Laboratories to create the magical spells that changed time and space. They needed a target that the American people to get behind and fund the project. So they pitched the moon as the goal. We're going to the moon, not because we can, because it's hard. NASA has spent $1 trillion since its inception. Ooh. NASA gets $34 billion a year from taxpayers, yet after we landed on the moon in '69, they've never colonized it. For the next 55 years, they have stalled us with remote control cars on Mars and rumors of train rails on the moon. But most of it is staged. NASA is real and does real science. They have two components to their scheme, however. Compartmentalization. The higher the security clearance, the more you know about rituals, magic, and quantum physics. The lower clearance practices calculus and normal physics. They don't know. NASA claims they have satellites in orbit and do spacewalks. There are thousands of debunkers that show mice, flies, and other earthly animals and insects that seem to get captured on the set, live, while they're up in space. Huh? On Google Earth, you can see Mars as you zoom in on Iceland with what they say is a replica of the Mars rover, and the land looks eerily similar to Mars. There are so many other strange things that NASA has not been able to explain to us. Like, where are the stars when you are in space? They seem to disappear by the time you leave our atmosphere. And how can an object in a vacuum move without another object moving it via density, as burned rocket fuel does not have anything to push against in a vacuum? My God, I'm not a rocket scientist, and yet I understand this. NASA explains this by adding oxygen to the fuel tank to create an atmosphere. If that were the case, they would need all of space to be the atmosphere and not just the area next to the rocket. NASA practices black magic rituals that are deeper than you could ever imagine. Their magic seemed to open up an entire world that should not exist on trigonometry, calculus, and geometry paper. Jack Parsons wasn't an expert in rocket science, yet founded JPL. However, he was a master wizard and studied under Aleister Crowley, the most wickedest man in the world. After his and L. Ron Hubbard's Babylon working ritual in the desert in 1946, they released the 4 Watchers under the river Euphrates, whom made a trade with them. Earth's women wombs, yes, their wombs, for technology. In 1953, Eisenhower agreed and signed the paperwork. This happened before, in the Old Testament. Genesis 6, in your Bible, it talks about it. And the first book of Enoch as well. The Watchers used magic to impregnate earthly women with their offspring hybrid known as Nephilim. NASA and the military-industrial complex have been helping the interdimensional beings with their breeding program now for 71 years. Their offspring has been living in caves and underground cities waiting for the opportune time to be released to the public. Again, the same thing happened all before Noah's flood. NASA never was about space because space doesn't exist. The Creator made the first model and called it good. If it was perfect, he would have chose a better word. Good means good enough to use as a test to work out the kinks and bugs. This test model, Earth, exists in the Creator's lab right next to his chair and has been referred to as his footstool. NASA knows this, and their logo depicts who they worship. The original snake's tongue from Genesis who tricked Eve into eating the forbidden fruit. NASA's true motive isn't world dominance. It is trying to gather as much data on its God so it can basically defeat it. This is the fallen angels' conundrum, as man doesn't want a God. They want to be God. They proved this by trying to destroy the world with the first atomic bomb in hopes of a chain reaction of fire continuously. Didn't work, though. There are 3 parties here fighting for control. The Creator, his creation, the first ones, and then us. The people are not ready to hear this because it would trigger madness. So the men of this earth continue to play God by ignoring the angels and the Creator, by lying to you about them while they build a tower that reaches the heavens again so they can escape. NASA, not about space administration.